Hi, I'm Jessica Lahr. Glad to be back with you again for a look at your week here in the Finger Lakes. Hundreds of Finger Lakes residents gathered in Geneva on Saturday to protest land filling in Ontario and Seneca counties in a march against imported garbage from outside the area. The march started at the corner of South Exchange Street and Elizabeth Blackwell Street, moved along the lake behind the Ramada Inn, and ended at the Bicentennial Park with a rally hosting multiple speakers. Darren McGee, a professor at Hobart and William Smith Colleges who teaches a class called The Geography of Garbage, was the first speaker at the rally.
Phil's here. As Katie said, 10 years ago when I was first investigating coming here, I Googled the Finger Lakes, didn't have any idea about it, and I found wine and I found trout and things like that, but one of the searches that kept coming up was large landfills, stop dumping on the Finger Lakes, a lot of the signs I see around here. And at first this was an academic exercise to me. I thought, well, why here? I'm a geographer, and the questions that geographers ask is why here? When you see a spatial pattern, you try to figure out that pattern, why it's there. And it's become, in the 9 years since then, something much more than an academic exercise as I've watched the mountains grow and I've understood just how much of a sacrifice zone this area is becoming to bury the garbage from much of the Northeast. And I don't think that's right. The Environmental Protection Agency has a definition of environmental justice that argues that no group or no area should be subjected to more than their fair share of the environmental bads, right? Thank you, my fellow. I really want to do Bernie Sanders. This is much more than a NIMBY. Some people dismiss this as a NIMBY movement, not in my backyard. Some people will dismiss this as an anti-rail or anti-rail jobs movement. It's not. If you're going to bring the pound for pound the garbage that you're already bringing by rail instead of truck and really take trucks off the road, fine. Rail is much more efficient. Makes a lot more sense. But this is not, the rail proposal is not about taking trucks off the road. We take a lot more trucks off the road if we close the landfill in 2023 like it should be. So thank you all for coming out.
Seneca Falls Town Supervisor Greg Lazaro was the second speaker and pointed to the incredible number of people that have reached out to him since he was elected in November.
150, 400, and everyone I talk to on a daily basis. I go to the grocery store. My wife says, what took you so long? You only bought 2 things. I've been talking to people. People stop me everywhere. No more trash. I don't hear anyone say anything but that. 300 doors I knocked on during my election campaign. No one wanted the landfill past 2023. With Cayuga County's help, from Auburn, from Seneca Falls to Waterloo to Geneva, we have 3 counties working. No more trash. No more trash. No more trash. No more trash. No more trash.
No more trash. No more trash. No more. The final speaker at the rally was Geneva's 4th Ward City Councilman Ken Camera. He spoke at length about the politics behind landfills like Seneca Meadows and the Ontario County landfill.
We have to mobilize, pick candidates who will think about the people first, question corporate welfare requests everywhere they're asked, and put their shoulders down and lean into this fight, which is for the survival of Seneca, of the Finger Lakes. It is plain to see that Mike Mazzolio and Tom Reed have been accepting donations not only from SMI, Finger Lakes Railway, and the fossil fuel industry for years, but they also have significant PAC money behind them. We can only fight back with our numbers at the voting booth. We have to get out the vote. The dump operators and gas storage people are going to do all they can to get their people into office. For them, it is business. For us, it's personal. For us, it's for our children. It's the right cause. John Donne said, "No man is an island." And Katie reminded me that he also said, "Never send to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee." It tolls for every one of us in the Finger Lakes. We are its keepers and protectors. We are its future, not some greedy and desperate dump, gas storage, or railway or railroad operation with a couple of Madison Avenue consultants and lawyers. And one last thing. We were blessed with the press release by the Finger Lakes Railway yesterday, and it's typical of these operations to position us as opposing their core business, which amounts to helping farmers ship their goods to market and all the things that we're okay with. What they suggest in that press release is we're against that, and we're not. What we are against is the incremental business that they want to do with garbage that they're bringing here that will destroy our jobs, our livelihood, and wreck our way of life. So that's my answer to that press release. Thank you all. There's a lot of people that help.
In response to the protest and rally held in Geneva, Seneca Meadows released a statement which read, "We salute the Finger Lakes Railway and the development of their Auburn Road terminal at the Seneca Meadows Renewable Resource Park. Statistics show the safest way to move materials is by rail. We hope to participate in the movement of waste by rail, which will take trucks off of local roads, reduce carbon emissions by 75%, and create good-paying local jobs. Seneca Meadows supports positive, responsible progress in our community." The much-anticipated Right to Run 19K and 5K races will be held in Seneca Falls on Saturday. The 19K distance is a nod to the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. Long-distance running legend, activist, and author Catherine Switzer is the national spokesperson for the run. In 1967, Switzer became the first woman to officially run and finish the then all-male Boston Marathon and won the New York City Marathon in 1974. Race director Katie McIntyre and Generations Bank CEO Menzo Case were guests on Weber This Week on Monday morning, where they talked about organizing the race and what to expect this weekend in Seneca Falls.
Nervous and excited. So yeah, we're excited to see all of the excitement of the runners. We have 859 runners signed up as of this morning.
That's phenomenal. That is probably. Did you have expectations how many you would hope to get when you started this thing?
Well, we were hoping for 4,000.
Wow.
It was a high expectation, but I think in our first year, we're thrilled. We think we'll come in around 1,000 or 1,200.
And you've got a great committee, I'm sure, that's worked on with this thing in a tireless effort to try to get it to be off perfect. I know Jimmy will be streaming it for fingerlakes1.com. But there's a lot of events leading up to. Go through, if you would, for us, and tell us, starting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all that, what's involved and what's of the events, and are there any openings for events for people to go to?
Sure. So we do have Catherine Switzer as our national spokesperson.
Awesome.
So she's coming into town to be with us the 5th, 6th, and 7th. And we have a whole series of events that definitely are open for people to participate in. So we start off with a visit by Catherine to the National Women's Hall of Fame. So she was inducted into the hall in 2011. So she'll be back there signing books on Thursday at 1 o'clock. And then we have an official kickoff cocktail party at the Inns of Aurora that evening from 6 to 8. And then Friday is a full day of speaking engagements that are open to the public. So she's speaking to about 800 students at Minders, and that's going to be recorded by Jim and his team as well. So we'll capture that, how to be the hero in your life. And then she'll have another panel discussion together with her husband, who is a running expert, Roger Robinson, at the Wesleyan Chapel of the National Park. And that's open to the public as well.
Well, it sounds like a lot of events are scheduled, a lot of people can take part, and certainly I think it's important that everybody embrace this, because I think personally I had no idea when you said you were doing this and you come on the show that what your number would be, but I think 800 to 900 people is phenomenal for the first year out, and it's only going to get better.
Yes,
and it's only going to get bigger.
And they'll bring people with them, so
exactly.
We expect a few thousand people in town to celebrate it.
And Menzo, of course, leading the bank effort as the head of the bank at Generations, and having a bunch of employees. And you got to give kudos to Katie and her team. And with your support, you're involved in a lot of things. The Generations Bank, as I've told you many times, should get chopsticks for doing a lot of support for a lot of causes. I think this is something that you are behind from the get-go, and you got to be pretty proud of what's going to unveil here.
It's pretty exciting to just have the outpouring of support from locals. Certainly Katie and Kristen, and really those two have really pulled the load. And certainly Catherine Switzer and her team. So we're really excited about what we're seeing. The Hall of Fame is certainly backing us with getting some folks, particularly attending the events where Catherine will be speaking. It's important not just to have the run, but also to tell the story and to empower young ladies to just dream big. And we dream big with this race. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to be announcing some changes for next year, as we do plan to have this every year, but it's going to be bigger, a little more involved, and we're really excited about the opportunity. It's going to be big.
Oh, yeah, and as I told you, Katie, all of my friends...
FingerLakes1.com will be live streaming the event on Saturday morning from 9 a.m. until noon on FingerLakes1.tv and YouTube. Join Jim Sinacropi and Jen Stanton canal-side along the Seneca Falls Canal Harbor live for the inaugural Right to Run 19K. The forecast for Saturday morning's race looks great with highs in the mid-70s under mostly sunny skies. We are, however, stuck in a changeable weather pattern, not unusual for this time of year, so keep an eye on the FingerLakes1.com local weather center forecast for the latest race day outlook. The weekend is shaping up nicely for Mother's Day weekend. Friday will be seasonably warm with a high in the mid to upper 60s under partly sunny skies with a 30% chance of a shower. After that wonderful Saturday I was telling you about, rain will move in overnight and into Sunday morning. Your Mother's Day will be a bit cooler with a high of about 60 degrees, but mainly dry after a 40% chance of morning showers. And keep your fingers crossed, the early outlook for next week is sunny with daytime highs in the 70s. We've had some amazing photos posted at FingerLakes1.com over the past few days, so here's a look at some of our favorites. From Renee Meeks, amazing colors highlighted daybreak over Keuka Lake as seen from Depot Park in Hammondsport on a chilly Sunday morning. Also at daybreak on Sunday, a pair of fishermen troll for trout on Lake Ontario at Port Bay. This photo by Chris Trine. John Emmett Greer captured Monday evening sunset from the Wells College Boathouse on Cayuga Lake. Jim Miranda saw the Geneva Panthers varsity girls lacrosse team pick up a 15-2 win over Newark on Wednesday. In this photo of Newark's Brooke Main, seen trying to split two Panther defenders. Also on the field this week, Waterloo's Sergio Ortega battles for possession of the ball against Batavia on Monday night on Coughlin Field. The Indians won the game 17-3. Photo by John Dibble. Finally, Shelley Lannon was thrilled to see this Baltimore Oriole at her window feeder in Clifton Springs on Tuesday. Rachel Burkholder took a hike through Buttermilk Falls last week, and we're lucky enough to share this gallery of images she captured along the trail. Rachel. If you would like to send us your local photos, we'd love to share them with our viewers. Learn how by clicking on our Photos tab at the top of our homepage or app and look for the submission link at the bottom of the page. A few weeks ago, Annette Lutz and Mary Saratori were appointed to fill open seats on the Seneca Falls Town Board. On this week's edition of Inside the FLX, the two new board members sat down with our Josh Durso to give their first impressions of holding public office.
I'll throw this one to Annette. Owning and running a small business, or any business for that matter, and then seeing the process play out on public policy and how you buy things or contract things or this, that, or the other thing. What has sort of been for you some of the things you've been thinking about as you've been rolling through these first couple months?
You mean as far as the town?
Yeah, as far
operates?
as because we're talking about essentially a town is a business in many ways. So I mean, what sort of applications are you kind of taking from one and applying to the other in terms of the town?
Okay, well, I think that the running a business, you're very mindful. The first thing that Bill and I are very mindful of is our budget. And I think when you are on a political board, a lot of times things aren't more of the budget, they're more of the political stuff. Well, you have to do it this way because you're a Democrat, or you have to do it this way because you're a Republican. But I think my frustration actually being on this board is that there's so much red tape to get through anything. One example is we have the dock down across from 10 Fall Street that is in total disrepair. So we've been talking about it for a week or so. We went down and looked at it, and yesterday we were down there and came up with a solution. We had somebody who wanted to come and look at it, and they said, well, we can do this to it and see what repairs need to be made and move from there. So as a business owner, I would say, okay, let's move ahead with that. But on a town board or a city board or anything that's political, you have to get engineers involved, and you have to take a vote on it, and so there's a lot of red tape that I feel slows down what we can accomplish, because there's all these steps you have to do, and with a business, you're there every day talking about things. With the town board, we meet once a month. So if something comes up, we have to email, we have to text, and 3 out of the 5 of us on the board are working full time. Yeah. So we don't, we're not available during the day a lot. So it's very hard, because in a business, you're with that person every day, with that business every day, and you know what's going on. And with the town board, like I said, you meet once a month, and
technically we can't actually be together all the time because of the way that the law works. You're only allowed, can't be 3 of us in a room at one time.
Right. Oh, that's
crazy. So I think
crazy.
that also is kind of like, people are like, why don't you guys just get together? And a lot of times we can't. And people don't know that unless you're, you really know the law behind it. But you can't have more than anybody that would vote on stuff. So like 3 of us can't get together and talk about something. So and then if we are, it has to be in an open meeting. So open meeting laws make it a little bit difficult. I can understand that process.
Now, you guys obviously, you have to make more of an effort then, right, to actually be able to communicate more. Yep. I mean, you have to go out of your way at that point, correct? So I mean, is it something you feel it's improving? Like, is it something that can be built on to be better?
I think Greg is very big on trying to get us together more, trying to be more open with what's going on, right? Wouldn't you say that?
I think that we're trying to make it so that we meet maybe more times for smaller periods, but that we really do want to keep this community involved as much as possible. I think transparency, a person said to me the other day when we had that forum, he came up and he was like, I like this board. This new board looks at us in the face, and it's like they almost want to hear what we're saying. And it's the first time that we felt this way in a really long time.
Yeah.
And that spoke to me because we work for the town. We're making decisions that I think of the town as a business, but I also think of it as a family, right? You want to make the best sound decision for your family. That may mean going out and getting 5 different quotes on a refrigerator because you want to make sure that you have the best refrigerator and you're not costing your family a ton of money for a refrigerator. So I'm thinking of the docks like I would a refrigerator, right? I want to make sure that we're getting the best for our buck because I'm not buying docks for just the 5 of us. I'm buying docks for 6,000 people that are the town of Seneca Falls.
Now, obviously, I would be completely foolish if I didn't ask you guys just one time, where do you guys feel the town is at with the entire landfill debate around Seneca Meadows? Do you feel like things are progressing the way you hoped they would when you took office? Are they moving a little slower than you were hoping, or where is that in terms of the expectation versus reality, I guess?
Oh, well, I think the board is moving along in a direction that I think we are looking out for the environment and for the health of our community. It does get frustrating at times, like, as I said, because there's red tape. You have to talk to this person, you have to talk to lawyers, things like that. But I do think we are making some great steps in getting our community to where they want to be.
Now, will either one of you be taking part in the walk that's going to be taking place up in Geneva this weekend?
I will be.
I had originally wanted to be, and then I scheduled myself. I have a person that I'm trying to get to open up a business in Seneca Falls, and so since Annette is going, I figured, hey, I have people that are going to be there for me, kind of tell me what's going on, but I'm going to be meeting with a person to try to get a young business opening up in Seneca Falls.
I think everyone can excuse you for that. For that
one.
So, what both of you, before we get you out of here, what do you guys think is the single most important non-landfill related issue? Because obviously the landfill issues are the ones that are most heard about in Seneca Falls right now. But like you both said, there are a lot of other issues. If you each had to pick one item or one thing, what would that thing be?
Mine would be to revitalize downtown, because once you do that, once you make downtown, you put stores in there and you clean up the weeds and you make the trees in the front of the buildings and put flower pots out there and bring businesses in here, then you get people to come here and visit and spend their money and maybe even think about moving here. So my biggest priority is the revitalizing downtown.
Mine kind of goes along with that. I'm thinking more economic development, which is part of revitalizing downtown, is definitely a portion of that. But I think revitalizing our economy in general. I think that when growing up in a small town, I came from a mom and dad, my mother was a nurse. We lived within our means. And I think that that is what frustrates people here the most. I think when people hear about what we're doing, money is always, you don't want it to be, but it's always the bottom line.
Right.
And I think I want to make sure that our economic development, and that's by bringing in new business, bringing in new people that might want to live here, making sure we have things on the tax roll, working with our non-for-profits that are in town to make sure that they're a strong core. I think that's the biggest thing, to make sure that people in this town are comfortable and feel like their money is going towards, when they pay taxes, it's going towards something that's a bigger picture. And I think that's kind of that whole economic development, which includes a little bit of everything.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
kind of umbrella, sorry.
Well, that's perfectly fine. I appreciate you guys taking the time. Definitely will be having you back in the future. There's a lot more to talk about here in Seneca Falls. Thanks a lot, guys.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's going to do it for us today. I'd like to thank Mary and Annette for stopping by and wish them the best of luck with the remainder of their term. A reminder to our viewers, Inside the FLX airs Sundays at 7 p.m. on Time
You
Warner
can
Cable
check
Channel
out the
12.
episode and
Also,
all our
don't forget-
podcasts and live streams at our network homepage at fingerlakes1.tv or on the Finger Lakes One TV tab on our Android or iPhone app. May is here and outdoor fun in the Finger Lakes lies ahead. Whatever your plans, have a great weekend. And to all you moms out there, have a wonderful Mother's Day.